Hello there everyone, and welcome to another edition of Lydia's Crafty Corner with me, Lydia, in my little crafty corner. Now you all know I love rainbows, so why not make a turning one on a card? So that's what we're going to be doing today. I'm using the Halftone Circles nesting die set, and I'm going to be using some of the dies from here. Now as you can see, I'm just arranging these onto a piece of white cardstock. Now this is quite sturdy. It's the thicker of the classic Crest Solar White. I am missing out a few of the dies just so I have the circles in kind of the same thickness for this one. Once I'm happy with the arrangement of them, I'm just going to add a little bit of tape to each of them so they don't move around when I do run this through my die cutting machine. So once I have them in place, I'm going to run them through, and I'm then going to have 3 of these beautiful circles in kind of the same thickness, and in that center one I'm not going to worry about because I will not be using those center 2. I'm then going to use the same largest die, and that's going to create kind of a base for later on. So I'm just going to move that to the side. We don't need that now. I'm then going to move on to these circles, and I am going to be ink blending onto these kind of in a gradient, so lighter at one end and darker in the other. So I've used the Pinkalicious, the Rubellite, and also the Razzleberry on the largest one there. And then for my center one, I'm going to be using the Citrus Burst. I'm then going to be using the Sunray, a little bit of the Chamomile, and also the Snapdragon to add that darker point on one of the edges there. You can see I'm kind of going lighter at one point, then in the middle I'm going the mid shade, and then I'm going darker. So for the blue one, I'm going with the Mountain Mist. I'm also going to go with the Volcano Lake and then the Lagoon for the darker point on that part of my rainbow there. So once I have all of these, I'm then going to add these onto my base. Now I do want to cut a little bit of a circle in the center in kind of the same place. Well, I really wanted it in exactly the same place, but I did go a little awry on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop the little circles in place and trying to keep that center die in the center. So once I'm happy with that, I'm just going to add a little bit of tape, and I'm going to run that through my die cutting machine again. So it's just going to cut through that center piece there. So once I have those, I then have a piece of plastic. Now this is just a piece of packing, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to add that into that center point, and this is what we're going to be able to use for our little mechanism. So to pop this in place, because it is kind of really thick acetate, I am going to use some super sticky tape just so it sticks really quickly, and it is super sticky too. So I'm just going to remove the backing there, add that into the center point. So I now have that kind of circle centerpiece covered with the acetate, and then I can then add my circle pieces into place. I'm trying to keep the darkest point on all of them all at the same point, and then the lightest on the other. As I was a little bit off when I cut that center circle, I am just going to trim off this piece here. I did line up the center point with the center circle that we have, that little blue one, just so everything is nicely centered that way. How many times can I say centered today? So once I have that done, I'm then going to create my little card base. Now I do want this to fit in a normal kind of envelope, so I'm just going to add a piece of cardstock just at 5.5, just so I can make sure that the top of the rainbow is going to fit in. And then I'm going to score this at 3 3/4. So I'm just going to score that there, and then I can add my little fold line using my bone folder and then trim off any of the excess there. So this is now 3 3/4 by 4 1/4. So once that's done, I then have a little panel that I'm going to pop on the front here, and this is 3 1/2, and I also have a little bit of a strip of cardstock, and this is going to be our little mechanism. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a hole to the center of the acetate piece that we have there. I'm just using a little file here, but you can use whichever kind of thing that you do have to hand. I'm just kind of making that hole a little bit wider just so I can fit my brad in later on. I'm then going to add a hole onto the little strip here. We're not going to need all of this strip. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to line up the 2 little holes that we've just created, and I'm going to add a little brad in the center of that, and that is going to work as our mechanism now. So this little rainbow can turn. You could also add sentiments onto this to kind of hide them, and then when you turn it, they kind of show through. Once I've done that, I'm going to add some more super sticky tape just behind these parts here, and I am going to trim that just so it's within that little rainbow circle that we have. I'm just going to make sure that the brad is going to be below that little panel that we have, because I don't want that showing. And then I can add my little rainbow into place there, and you can see just how cute that looks when it does spin around, and it would look even cuter with some sentiments. I'm then going to use the cloud stencil from Altenew, and I'm just going to add a little bit of a cloudy sky theme onto this little panel that we have here. I'm just using the dewdrops, and I'm just moving the stencil round, adding bits of cloud here and there onto the little panel just to add a little bit of interest. On the Builder Flower Ranunculus, we do have this fabulous sentiment that says, "Be a rainbow in someone else's cloud." I really thought that would work for this little card that we have going on. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to add some ink to that one. I'm just using the Obsidian ink and then stamping that into place. Now I'm going to add that panel into place onto the card base. Now I'm doing this with some foam tape, so I have a little bit of dimension, and as you can see, I'm adding that onto the card base and kind of keeping away from that rainbow that we have at the top. And just look how cute this is here. So here is the card complete. I really do hope that you like the card and that you've enjoyed the video as well. If you do create a card that was inspired by this, it'd be great if you do share, because we'd love to see. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and we'll see you again really, really soon. Bye-bye. Hello there, crafty friend, Lydia here. Just popping in to say that you can get your daily dose of crafting tips, techniques, and tutorials just like this by subscribing to the Altenew YouTube channel. All you need to do is click on that little bell up there and you will never miss a video. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.